Welcome to Passion for the Pastime, where baseball lives 24/7, 365. Catch conversations with beat writers, broadcasters, current and former players of all levels. Now here's your host,
Walter Balsetta. Whoops, I fumbled. I got to get out of here.
Walter Balsetta.
Well, it helps if I have my camera on. What's up, everybody, and welcome to a special edition. The final weekend of 2024 goes out with a bang. We had breaking news last night. If you have your notifications on, you would have seen the taxi cab confessions, as Derek Papa so kindly put it. With me breaking the news live from the driver's seat of my vehicle, pulled over safely. I wasn't on the road. I was in a parking lot, so we're all good to go. But breaking news yesterday: Corbin Burnes signs with the Arizona Diamondbacks. It was a shocker of a move. Just everyone in the industry. I saw John Heyman was the first to put it out there, and he was on MLB Network earlier today in saying that it was the biggest surprise of the off season by far. It's not even close. So we'll definitely dive into that, what that means for the Giants. I've had a little bit of time to digest a little bit as to what went down, because yesterday it was just so shocking that there's always the dark horse team, right? And I guess in a way, we should have seen the Diamondbacks. We should have seen the signs pointing for the Diamondbacks to maybe make a splash. I didn't really think that they would spend that type of money, and especially in the pitching market, being that their starting rotation was already pretty decent. So that was a little bit of a shocker, but obviously goes with he didn't go with the most money. We'll get into that because there was a lot of differing reports that were coming out last night and into this morning with what the dollar amount was. Bob Nightingale put out there last night that the Giants and the Blue Jays offered more. I don't believe that is the case. Susan Slusser came back and said that the Giants did not offer more than the Diamondbacks did. I don't know if that's the overall contract, because then in contrast, see, and this is where we'll find out in the coming days, but in contrast, when John Heyman was on MLB Network, he was talking about how a team offered the highest contract, which then it becomes the Blue Jays, and then a team offered the highest AAV, which would lead me to be the Giants. So we'll get into that, what all that means, and who is to blame for this misstep of the Giants not getting Corbin Burnes. Are you okay with the Giants not acquiring Corbin Burnes and getting that starting pitching depth that they needed, getting that 1A and 1B tandem with Logan Webb? Are you okay with riding with the young guys? Because quite frankly, I think at this point you have a little bit of players that are still left. You have Jack Flaherty, you have some older vets in Justin Verlander, Max Scherzer. You can go out and trade for a pitcher like a Sonny Gray or Luis Castillo. I don't see that in the cards, but he has been floated around in trade talks. So there are options, but I feel like the Giants would be better suited to just ride it out, and it kind of tells you where the Giants are in their outlook to 2025. So we will get into that. We'll see what moves there are for the Giants to be had. Again, there's a lot of guys out there. There's a lot of guys on the pitching market. They are probably tier 3, I think, if you want to put them in a tier. There was the Corbin Burnes tier, and then there was the Sean Manaeas, who else signed? God, I'm drawing a blank right now. But all those other pitchers that signed prior to Corbin Burnes. And you got Roki Sasaki. I guess he's kind of in that second tier as well. But it looks like he's going to be going to the Padres or the Dodgers. So we'll find out what's going on there. But welcome in, everybody. Welcome into Passion for the Pastime. If you haven't heard, and I'm sure you've heard by now because we live in a digital age, we all get notifications. We all have Twitter. We all have X. Corbin Burnes signing with the Arizona Diamondbacks, 6 years, $210 million. Was a complete shocker across baseball and definitely in the Bay Area, where the Giants had been said as the front runners for the entirety of the offseason, I would have to say. And especially, I think it ramped up a little bit even more after the Willy Adames deal went down. So a little bit of a shocker, but again, I did kind of have my reservations. I was still confident. I will tell you that I was still confident, obviously, earlier this week and even yesterday when we had the show prior to the breaking news. I was still confident that the Giants were going to go all in and give that offer to Corbin Burnes, which they ultimately did. We'll have to see what it was, and maybe we'll never know. But you can kind of see the hints left and right, so we'll kind of digest it and dissect it a little bit, and I'll tell you guys what I think the Giants' offer was to Corbin Burnes. We will be talking with Derek Papa, my guy from KMBR and from Dirty Work. We did do a show earlier this week where I told him my confidence level is through the roof, and now he's going to bring me back down to reality at 12:15. We'll have Derek Papa join the stream if he's not already in the chat and starting shenanigans 100%. What's up? Let's go to the chat really quick. Just want to gauge how you guys are feeling. Mike Val, always a loyal Passion for the Pastime listener. We might have cat content, by the way. I don't know if you guys like cats or are into cat content, but I did have my cat walking around my desk earlier this morning when I was getting everything set up, and she is very curious today. So she might be stepping into the podcast. So I'll let you guys know. You'll obviously see her walking in my face. Mike Val kinda is though, bro. I think we can kiss Vlad's ass goodbye. Yeah, Vlad Jr. ain't coming here, man. I don't think that's going to happen. And I think that was a pipe dream from the beginning. It was nice to think about, but then also when you factor in he's going to be a free agent next year, he's asking for a lot of money. I don't think that that's going to be something that the Giants would want to even sniff at unless you get him super cheap and you don't have to part with any prospects. But knowing the Blue Jays are going to want to have a haul for Vlad Jr., she did the same thing with Buster not coming. Team president, same thing with Hassan Kim. Don't trust her. That's just me. Are you referring to Susan Slusser, Mike? I love me some Sluss. So don't do some slander on Susan Slusser. I love me some Susan Slusser. We're actually gonna have her on the show at some point. Maybe as early as next week. I'm gonna reach out to her and see what we can do as far as breaking down this offseason for the Giants. Let's see here. Let's see. Otis. What's up, Otis? I don't know if I've seen Otis in this chat before. Welcome if it's the first time, Otis. Really appreciate you, man. Didn't expect Burnes to sign with the D-backs. A gut punch for sure. Got our hopes up. Yeah, I mean, it hurts a little bit more, right, Otis? I just got to ask you and ask the chat, whoever's in here listening to the show. Really appreciate you. If it is your first time, make sure you subscribe, set your notifications, give me a like as well for Passion for the Pastime, and follow me on Twitter, on X. You can see my my tag right here, right at the bottom left hand of the screen, left hand corner, Walleezy, at Walleezy, WALLEEZZY. You'll find out when I'm going live. I know that this next upcoming week, because I'm on vacation from KMBR, it's going to be a little bit of a different time slot that you're used to, but normally Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. We'll definitely be here talking some ball and breaking down everything from the Corbin Burnes and signing and all the fallout to that, what that means for the Giants. But going back to Otis, it was a gut punch for sure because of where he ended up. I think if he would have gone to the Blue Jays, if he would have gone back to the Orioles, anywhere else other than an NL West division, I wouldn't say rival, but opponent, right? Because I mean, we're not really we don't got beef with the Diamondbacks. I know that they edged out the Giants in the division in 2011. I think that was the season. Was that the season that they had Carlos Beltran? That was the year that Buster Posey got hurt. 2011. So yeah, are we taking the beef back to 2011? I don't think so. So, but a division opponent, right? I think that's why it hurts the most. And also, you look at the Diamondbacks, man. Like I talked about it a little bit last night, and I don't know if Jordan Montgomery is coming back from injury. I have to go back and look, but they have 6 dudes. They have 6 dudes. Not a lot of lefties though, but they have 6 dudes in that rotation. I can definitely see them flipping one of them if they because in today's day and age, you don't need 5 starters. You don't need it. That's an old school thinking way of baseball. But if they go 5, 6 starters, I mean, hell, man, like more power to them. But just the rotation itself is dynamic. It is incredible just to see what they have. They have Zach Gallen. They have now Corbin Burnes, Brandon Pfaadt. You have Merrill Kelly. I mean, dude, Eduardo Rodriguez. I mean, man, and then you slot in Jordan Montgomery. I'm just like, come on, man. Like it's a little bit of overkill, if you ask me. But yeah, that's why it hurts so much, Otis. I'm with you on that, man. It's that it wasn't that the Giants didn't get him. Yes, that stings, but it's because of where he ended up. And now that the Giants are going to have to at least see him for 2 years, because remember that opt-out did play a part in the Giants potentially not getting him, if that was the deal breaker there, which is kind of interesting because opt-outs are more and more common. But again, I do feel like the Giants and Buster Posey, they're trying to build a culture of guys that want to be here. And an opt-out doesn't necessarily scream that they want to be a part of the team, but I mean, it does. You do kind of look at it like, okay, well, we have him for 2 years, and we can potentially have him for longer. I don't know. Let me get your thoughts on that. How you guys feel about opt-outs, and if that was the deal breaker for the Giants, did they drop the ball on that? Did they drop the ball on that situation? But Otis, welcome to the fam, man. I really appreciate you stopping by. Mike Val, Lund reports Arizona taxes 2 point. Yep. I think we came in at a higher number with no opt-outs for 7 years, and they came at a higher AAV. Well, so Mike, just to get into it, with all the reports, and I mean, you're trying to gather all the reports, gather the information, what you can find, and from what I've found is that it started last night with Bob Nightingale saying that the Giants and the Blue Jays offered more money. Now, in a sense, it was right. It was true, but the overall contract, I believe, is what Susan was reporting, is that the Giants did not offer more than Arizona length or contract dollar wise. I think that where we are with the contracts that were being offered, and this is just me reading the reports and putting together pieces of a puzzle. I believe that obviously we know the 6 years, 2 year or opt out after 2 seasons for Corbin Burnes. That's what got it done. 6 years, $210 million to the Arizona Diamondbacks. You look at the other reports with John Heyman coming in and saying that a team offered the highest contract and a team offered the highest AAV. They weren't the same team. And then I believe it was Bob Nightingale. I might be wrong with my insider. It was either Nightingale or Heyman or possibly even Jeff Passan, but I didn't see too much Passan this morning. So I don't think it was Passan. I want to say it was Nightingale. Came out and said that the Blue Jays offered 7 years, $250 million contract with no opt-outs, right? That was the highest number contract that was offered, that was on the table. The Blue Jays had that, right? So you crunch the numbers on that, 7 year, 255. It's just above, right under $36 million AAV. So it was roughly, I believe when I did the math, it was at 35.7 for the AAV if he was to go to the Blue Jays. Now you go and look at the Giants because Susan Slusser comes back and says, no, the Giants didn't offer more than the Arizona Diamondbacks. Well, then now you start crushing the numbers because then you use that report and go back to John Heyman, who was the first to report it, and he said that a team offered the highest AAV. Now, I don't know if he's going off a highest AAV by $700,000 because the AAV for the Diamondbacks with Corbin Burnes was 35, and if he would have signed with the Blue Jays, it was at a 35.7. So I don't think he was going off of that. I think that it was a much higher AAV, a significant higher AAV. And you were looking at, and also knowing this ownership group does not want to go long-term on a pitcher. We have seen that in the past. It doesn't pan out for the Giants. It doesn't pan out for Major League Baseball. I think that the contract offer was 5 years, $200 million. That's $40 million AAV. It's not higher than what he was going to get contract-wise for the Diamondbacks, but it was a higher AAV and a lesser amount of time, and maybe there was no opt-outs included in that. So that's where I think everything went down with the contracts. That's just my best educated guess on that based on all the reports. So we'll just have to see. We'll find out a little bit more as we get into the coming weeks, where we try to figure out what the hell's going on with the Giants and where their pivot is. And that's where I make my pivot. I'm going to bring in my guy, Derek Papa. I just saw him pop in here. I think he's been in here for maybe about 90 seconds. Derek, you heard a lot of that dollar talk. I know you love baseball offseason knowledge and offseason numbers. So let me bring in my guy, Derek Papa from KNBR Dirty Work. Derek, my first question to you is: it a little too early to get dirty for you?
It's never too early to get dirty, Walter. You know that.
What's up, bro? Oh, dude, I love the A's hat. I love the A's hat
I had to rep RIP to the man of steel, Ricky Henderson. We'll talk about that a little bit today.
Oh, for sure.
But Walt, I just want to check on you, man. How you doing? You okay? I saw you driving around last night. I'm like, where the hell are you going? And are you going to drive your car into the river or something after hearing this Corbin Burnes news?
Yeah, man, I almost drove off of a bridge. I mean, it was incredible, man. No, it was really shocking. It was really shocking.
Okay, hold on. But before we get to all that, what the hell were you doing last night while you were driving around?
You know, I was out working, you know, and then I saw the breaking news happen on my phone, and I was just like, dude, I got to talk about this. I got to do this now.
Were you driving and streaming at the same time?
No. I pulled over. I parked.
Be safe, everyone. Don't be like Greg Papa, where he's got his iPad going and driving it around at the same time.
That's not
safe.
Yeah. It's not safe. I am responsible. I am a responsible human being, Derek. I parked. Although I did reverse into where I was parked. I reversed into the parking space, and then you can see cars driving past me, and so that gave the illusion that I was. I know.
I was a little concerned there.
No, I'm good, man. I was
hoping like in this time off, you decided to become like a Lyft driver, so you started picking up people, and you're like, hey, did you have the Corbin Burnes news? let me hear your take while I drive you around. You don't want to talk about it? Well, too bad.
You know what? That's good marketing, Derek. I should be a Lyft/Uber driver. Talk to them about the sports news and be like, hey, if you want to listen more, here's my podcast. I'm blasting on the radio.
Yeah, you could be like a new type of cash cab, except it's like a podcast cab.
Podcast cab?
Yeah.
Would I ask them sports questions, or what would I like this idea, Derek. Tell me more.
No, like they become part of the interview process. So like they pop in, and you're like, hey, it's Walter, now joined by, what's your name? All right. So they're going to this destination. I'm not allowed to reveal that. Well, too bad. All right. So what'd you think about Corbin Burnes? You don't know who Corbin Burnes is? Well, this is going to be a terrible interview then.
So I picked you up, essentially.
Oh, easy there. I got takes.
Oh, dude, I appreciate you. I sent you a text late last night. You didn't get back to me this morning. Were you deep in sleep? Like, did you find out about Corbin Burnes last night? Or no, you popped in the chat for like a little bit.
Yeah. No, I was checking on you. No, yesterday was a long day. I did my first ever morning show, producing and on the air.
Dude, how was that? 6 a.m., right?
That was something. So I was in Napa yesterday, hanging out with my family. Had to get away from a Monopoly game that we had going on to go to bed at 8 o'clock so I can rise at 4 a.m. to get started on some John Lynch questions. What time did you
start Monopoly? Was it like mid-game?
I didn't partake. I was in the background listening
Okay.
to my family argue at each other because Monopoly really just tears families apart. That's the whole point of the game. So while
Which one rips families apart more, Monopoly or Uno?
Monopoly,
Is it really?
yeah.
All right.
I mean, if it's my family, it's either Monopoly or Heads Up. You know that game where you put your phone on your head and you have to guess like celebrities or whatnot, or
Oh
actually,
yeah. Heads up. I thought
yeah.
I thought you were going like super old school elementary. Heads up, 7 Up.
Oh no Heads Up 7 Up, no Duck Duck Goose. By the way, Heads Up is one of the few games where you could get away with kind of being racist because there's a whole category where you could do like you could do like voices or like like different accents and
Okay.
I think it's fair game. I could be wrong, but that's just me. Anyway, so they're playing
Continue, yes.
they're playing Monopoly, and I had to write up questions for John Lynch, and I was watching the terrible Bears Seahawks game, and I saw it was 8 o'clock, and I was like, I gotta go to bed, guys. So I went to bed, woke up at 4 a.m., did the show with Greg Silver. Hope everybody enjoyed it. And then, went on a walk with them around Napa for a little while. They wanted to go wine tasting. Wine's not my thing. So I was like, I'm going to go home. So I drove home, did the podcast with my man, Stephen Langford, Just Your Opinion, man.
Yeah.
Last night, watched a little of, I was dead tired. Didn't take a nap the entire day. Watched a little bit of the Warriors. Saw it was just a terrible game. And then switched over to watch, you seen this movie called Carry On Netflix?
Carry On, no.
It's a movie
is it
where
a Netflix original?
Yeah, it's with Jason Bateman. He gets this guy to get a bomb to come through security and everything. It wasn't fantastic. While the movie was going on, I saw the alert that Corbin Burnes signed, and I was like, oh shit, everyone's gonna go crazy over this. So texted a few people, saw you were going live, and around 10:30, 11, that's when the edibles started kicking in. I was like, I'm gonna go to bed. So missed your text.
All right, no, it's all good, man. Yeah, it was a crazy night last night. It happened like at 10:23 or something, 10:25. And I was just like, oh dude, I need to go live. Like this is crazy.
No, hey, good by you to jump on that because I mean, not many people at that time of night were going to do that. So good on you for going live, and
hell yeah,
you
bro.
Definitely got some eyeballs. Good on you, Walt.
I'm a beat reporter. I'm a beat reporter.
You're beating it. You're beating the report.
I'm beating it all 24/7. All right, man. Really quick, checking into the YouTube chat, I want to get your thoughts on the Corbin Burnes situation and all that, and definitely Ricky, because we did talk. You asked me about it when I joined you on Dirty Work on Christmas Eve, but we didn't really get into your aspect of it because you grew up an A's fan. So I do want to get your thoughts on Ricky, and obviously his birthday was earlier this week on Wednesday, playing in or being born on Christmas Day. But
yeah, he would have been
new
66 years old. Sorry.
Yeah, dude, 66. No, you're good. 66 years old for Ricky Henderson. So we'll get into that conversation as well. But rocking new era. I believe he's in Disneyland. A lot of Giants and 49er hats here in Disneyland. So my question to you, Derek, have you ever been to Disneyland?
Of course I've been to Disneyland.
All right, what's your favorite ride? What's your favorite ride?
The last time I've been to Disneyland was right before.
I'm a Disneyland head.
Yeah, I know. Walter's a little Disneyland whore, I would say.
Thank you.
I would say the last time I went to Disneyland was right before things got crazy with the pandemic. So it was early 2020.
All right.
And my favorite ride, I mean, I do like the Guardians of the Galaxy ride, although it does make me kind of sick. The way it just goes up and down and kind of jolts you a little bit. The Star Wars ride. The Star Wars ride. Ernie 2 says or brings up here. I try to go on that, but that's you gotta get like a 2-day advance thing there to get like a reservation on that thing, right?
Well, it's different now. It's a lot more user friendly, I guess, because when you went, it was like new and they had these weird queues or whatever. It's a lot different now, so you should go back.
Okay.
and you can wait in line now like a regular human being.
Okay. I mean, yeah, that seemed unreasonable at the time because I went to Disneyland and they were like, did you reserve a seat on this ride 2 days in advance? And I was like, are you people crazy? Like, do you have any Disney dollars as well? Like, where am I?
Yeah.
I would say I like the what's the roller coaster with the Yeti on it?
The Matterhorn.
Yeah, that one's really good. I mean, Disneyland's fantastic. You got California Adventure. The whole thing's just fantastic.
Yeah, and Rocket New Era wants to specify the difference. There's two different parks, Disneyland
Yeah,
and
but it's in
California
the
Adventure.
same. Yeah, but it's in the same family.
I hear you. But I did ask you your favorite Disneyland ride, and then you went Guardians of the Galaxy. So technically, you were wrong, Derek.
Oh, my bad. Okay, well then I'll strictly Disneyland. Sure, I'll say It's a Small World After All. That's my favorite ride.
For sure. We have to find out what Rocket New Era's favorite ride is. Drop us down in the comments. But let's get into the baseball conversation here, Derek. And last night, Corbin Burnes, he signs with the Arizona Diamondbacks. There's been a lot of not conflicting reports, but a lot of reports giving little bits here and there. So we're all trying to connect the pieces. But the latest was that Susan Slusser said that the Giants did not offer more money than the Arizona Diamondbacks did.
Yeah.
And that was 6 years, $210 million with the 2-year opt-out after 2026. So where do you kind of stand on that with the Giants not going above and beyond? Because also there were reports out there that was saying that with John Heyman, he was saying that a team offered the highest contract. I believe that was the Blue Jays, because there was another report saying that the Blue Jays offered $250. And then the other tidbit to John Heyman was that there was a team that offered the highest AAV. I think that is the Giants. I don't think they went length of years and they didn't go highest max contract. But what does that how do you read that situation with the Giants not going to try to break the bank for Corbin Burnes?
Well, first of all, I love the different reporting out there, because I mean, John Heyman, he gets a lot of crap for his reporting, but I will say the man does. I mean, he was the first one to report that Corbin Burnes signed with the Diamondbacks to begin with.
Yes, he is the Giants' Grinch. He always does it around Christmas time.
Max, but there are really good. I mean, Bob Nightingale and John Heyman have been reporting baseball for a long time, but I will say they do get some things wrong from time to time. Now, John Heyman, it's more like the Arson Judge thing, and everyone clowns him for that. And like, remember, did you hear this interview a couple of weeks ago, Walter, where John Heyman went on with I forget the guy's name, but he was on WFAN. And he was kind of making fun of him, of being like, "Oh, you take a cut from Scott Boras," and he was like insinuating like it was like the 2-year anniversary of Arson Judge. John Heyman was like, "I can't believe you bring this up. I can't believe it."
Yeah.
John Heyman gets a lot of crap, but he's been pretty on his game for the most part. Bob Nightingale, good reporter too, but he does get some things wrong as well, and he reported that the Giants and Blue Jays offered more money to Corbin Burnes.
Right.
And if I'm going to trust anybody out of the three when it comes to John Heyman, Bob Nightingale, and Susan Slusser, I'm going to go with Susan Slusser, because she's a beat reporter. She's there every day covering the team. And I could say I'm not surprised that the Giants didn't offer the most money, because I brought this up to Adam Copeland on the show, where I thought that in the past the Giants don't usually go big bank when it comes to pitchers, and then he bit my head off and said, "Of course they do. They do it all the time." No, they don't. I think the last ones they did were, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Walt, the biggest contracts they've given out in the most recent years were Johnny Cueto.
Cueto.
And Samardzija.
Cueto, Samardzija, and I mean, excluding Blake Snell, but yeah, that's the
but Blake Snell basically with the opt-outs, that basically was a 1 year deal.
He was a 1 year deal, yeah. And we knew that going in. We knew he wasn't going to be here for 2. Yeah.
Yeah. So my thing is, I think it was different this time around. It sounded like Buster Posey was all in to get Corbin Burnes, and I what it sounds like is, they were willing to give him the most AAV, maybe not the most length of time. But I guess from what you were telling me, Walter, it was the opt-outs. And there are no opt-outs in Willy Adames' deal, correct?
No opt-outs, full 7 years.
Yeah, so I guess Buster, he's old school. He wants guys that want to be lifelong Giants. So I don't know how long the contract was going to be. He signed for what? It was 6 years, 210?
6 years, 210. Yeah,
and opt-out after 2 years.
And then the offer that was reported, I believe it was Nightingale, or it might have been John Heyman. I might be mixing up my reporters. But someone out there in the know put out that it was a 7-year, 250 deal that was turned down by the Blue Jays that he ultimately elected for. And obviously state taxes factor in as well. And I don't know what the Canadian dollar translates over to
loonies.
With all of that. But
Devon loonies.
But he also had a home in the Phoenix area. So you don't know how much of that was a contributing factor.
I mean, I think that's a big deal. Like the fact that, from what I read, he had twins just born,
recently.
So you can't beat that. I mean, I know that Giant fans are going to be upset and say that the Giants should have offered more money, but in the end, if he just wanted to stay in Arizona by his family, then you really can't fault the Giants for that one. Right. I would say, the opt-outs. Like, I know that Buster Posey wants guys to stay Giants for their entire careers, but maybe, and I'm not saying that Farhan was a better GM, but he knew how to get the deal done with Matt Chapman and Blake Snell by offering them opt-outs. Right. And let's be real too, for Corbin Burnes, he doesn't know what this team is going to be in 3 to 4 years. I mean, mostly players don't know, because after this season, who knows if Bob Melvin's going to be there. Right. So I think guys do want an out to be like, okay, well, this isn't exactly what I signed up for. And Corbin Burnes, I guess to stay with his family in Arizona. I don't know. Like, from everything you're reading, Walt, did it seem like the Giants were just, not willing to budge on the opt-outs, or was it really more just Corbin Burnes wanting to go to a place that's tax-free and wanting to stay with his family?
Yeah, I mean, I would probably lean more towards the latter, being that the real aspect of this all is, and I think that fans don't factor in so much, is the dollar amount. Like, it does, the money does the talking, right? So again, just based on everything that's being reported, I think that the offer was 5 years, $200 million to Corbin Burnes. If that is the case, then you have to factor in all the state taxes that's going to drop that number down to. And obviously he doesn't get the opt-out, he doesn't get the years. So then it's kind of like, well, how much are you really trying to go after Corbin Burnes? I feel like they offered just enough to have his ears perk up, but didn't really take his focus off of being somewhere else. And it wasn't all about the money for Corbin Burnes. Obviously, he turned down the lesser amount of dollars, $250, to go to from the Blue Jays, to end up going for $210 to Arizona. Obviously, state taxes and all that factors in, but the family aspect for him to he has his offseason home in the Phoenix area. Spring training is there. He doesn't have to move. He doesn't have to uproot his family and go somewhere else. So I think that did play a big factor. But then going back to the opt-outs, because we talked about it a little bit, I believe we talked about it on Christmas Eve. All my shows are like running together, so I don't know if I said it here or if I said it with you.
I'm the same way.
But when I'm looking at, because there was reports, and I think I touched on it a little bit with you, there were reports that the holdup was that there were opt-outs after the second year. And then you start seeing that the contract negotiation went down and he got the opt-out after the second year. Then you start looking back at that original report, and I have to go back and see who put that out there. It wasn't a super credible source, from what I remember. And just to hear that and see what the final outcome was, it does lend me to believe that the opt-outs for the Giants under the Buster Posey regime, I think that is something that is going to go away a little bit, but it can't go away completely, because that is the nature of baseball today. All the players want to have some type of control over their careers, over their contracts, and you have to include opt-outs. So is that, like, for me, is that I'm riding with Buster, I like that, I want guys here that want to be San Francisco Giants? Or was it a misstep in that, hey man, that's how baseball is nowadays, you have to give the opt-outs?
Yeah, I think that while fans are very excited that Buster Posey is back and is going to bring an element to the old days of winning the 3 championships, it can't be too old school. It can't be where if you're going to be a San Francisco Giant, then you're here for the long haul. Signing a 5-year contract or a 6-year contract. I mean, opt-outs are not really a thing in the NFL. So like when not Buster Posey, when Brock Purdy signs his contract this offseason, he's going to sign 4 or 5 years. There will be not an opt-out in there. But baseball, when Juan Soto's signing a 15-year contract, there is no opt-out in that one, correct? Is it just 15 years?
In that one, yes.
Jesus.
15, yeah.
Well, I mean, just some guys, for how long these contracts are and the guaranteed money, I understand why that maybe they want to opt out, or maybe even the team wants to opt out after a little bit of time. But yeah, Buster can't be too stuck in his ways of like, well, I finished my entire career with the San Francisco Giants. Why do others not want to do that? You got to be more flexible. And that's why, like I said before, Farhan was able to get the deals done with Blake Snell and Matt Chapman. So if it was over and opted after 2 years, then you do everything you can. You do everything you can to save Corbin Burnes in 2 years. But in the end, I don't think that's what really determined this. I think it's just the fact that, yeah, it's Arizona, taxes, his family. And now this really screws over the Giants. You saw that. I don't know how much you wanted him to stay, Walter. You asked older players like JT Snow and Rich Aurelian, and they were all for Blake Snell leaving this offseason. They were not into him coming back. So he leaves for the Dodgers, and now you got to deal with Corbin Burnes with the Arizona Diamondbacks. And now I know Giants fans were feeling good about Willie Adames, but right now, after this move and the pitching rotation that the D-backs have now, I think you have to say it goes. We all knew that the Dodgers were going to be number 1 in the NL West. I think the Diamondbacks go to number 2, and you can pick and choose between the Padres and Giants right now. But I would probably lean the Padres direction just because of what they did a season ago. So my question to you, though, Walter, is, was this the backup plan? Because we heard about Corbin Burnes, and there really wasn't. I mean, there was a lot of smoke there, obviously, but people were kind of like insinuating a little bit too much. I thought, like, Corbin Burnes, he's a California guy. Yeah. Well, where was he from? He wasn't from the Bay Area. He went to St. Mary's, but he's not like a Bay Area guy, in my opinion.
I think he was from Bakersfield.
Yeah, Bakersfield. Yeah. So, okay. But the guy that you've been bringing up that I've had questions about, that even Buster Posey said would be a dream come true to land, is Roki Sasaki.
Yeah.
And you know this way better than I do about the timeline of when he can officially sign with the team. Mm-hmm. So was Corbin Burnes kind of the backup plan? And now, we missed out on him. Now is Buster Posey willing to go all in on Roki Sasaki?
Yeah, I mean, so here's the deal with that. And just to go back to the Juan Soto deal, he does have an opt-out after 2030. He does have an opt-out. So even the 15-year deals get opt-outs included in them.
Yeah, I mean, you would have to. I mean,
that's just the way of baseball, man. That's the way of the sport. Like, that's something that I think Farhan did get right. Was that to entice guys to come in here, and especially here, you don't have to do it so much for pitchers. But for hitters, obviously, we saw it with Chapman and with Jorge Soler. You got to have the opt-outs included in there.
And if I'm not mistaken, I believe the only way they can retain Juan Soto is if they improve his salary by like $5 million.
$4 million. Yes. Yeah. So you're right on that. Yeah. The only way that they would be able to retain him is if they up his AAV. In that
that's
season.
The best deal in all of sports. Good Lord.
Yeah, dude, that's
seriously
crazy. That is crazy. But going back to your question, man, about Roki Sasaki. So I don't know. I don't think that Roki Sasaki is plan A. I think plan A was getting Willie Adames, was addressing that need, because it was so glaringly obvious that the Giants needed to address not having Brandon Crawford there anymore at shortstop. So that was their biggest need last year. We saw it all season last year. They don't have anything in the farm system. So that was their number one plan, and they got it done. And I applaud Buster Posey for doing that. Now, when you look to Corbin Burnes and you look to Roki Sasaki, I would have to say that Corbin Burnes was the first step in that plan. And I wouldn't even put Roki Sasaki after that. I would go, I don't even know if he's part of the plans. Like, it sounds like a pipe dream, right? Because I've been talking about Vlad Jr. getting traded to the Giants, and that's a pipe dream for me, right? I feel like Roki Sasaki coming to the Giants is more of a pipe dream as well, because all the traction and anything can change. But all the traction all off season and the anticipation early on was that he was going to go to the Dodgers. Now it's the Dodgers or the Padres. I don't know what the Giants have to end up doing because they only have so much money that they can allocate per the international pool money. I think they only have $5 million that they can throw at Roki Sasaki. But how you lure him in and how you bring him in is all these incentives. Like you can get him an apartment or buy him a house somewhere in San Francisco or sponsorships or stuff like that. Like, so there's a lot of things that they can do, like incentives wise, to try to lure him in here. But again, I don't know if there's anything that the Giants can offer that could lure him away from the Dodgers. If it's only solely that he doesn't want to be with Ohtani, because it was reported that Roki Sasaki looked up more to Yu Darvish than Shohei Ohtani during his time in Japan. And Yu Darvish is a member of the San Diego Padres. So
get
that's
your
why
priorities straight there, Roki Sasaki.
yeah, so that's the thing. And does he want to be the star? Because if you go to LA, you're not going to be the star there. So are you okay with being the Batman, right? I mean, not even you might even be like in the what the supporting
Are you
cast.
saying Batman to his Superman?
No. No, dude, the Batman to Shohei Ohtani's Superman is Mookie Betts. So that's what I'm saying. Like, he's not even the fifth star option on that team.
I mean, I don't want to get a debate here, but I always thought Batman was better than Superman.
Batman's better than Superman?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, come on, bro.
What do you mean, come on, bro?
How? Hold on. Whoa. Stop. What? What are you talking about?
Batman's better than Superman. Hands
How?
down.
He's a millionaire. He's a human. He could be me and you.
Exactly, and that's the relatable factor.
Superman can crush Batman in a snap of his
No, man,
fingers.
Superman is lame, and
bro.
that new movie trailer looks lame as hell. I never was a Superman guy.
I mean, I'm a big Batman guy too, but realistically, Superman can crush Batman if he wanted to.
Realistically, there are no aliens from Krypton that come down here.
Oh, come on, bro.
Realistically, you could buy a billionaire who's sad and depressed and doesn't understand the world and then becomes Batman. But back to baseball, Walter.
Thank you.
Okay, but you don't have but when you and I were doing the Christmas Eve episode, you were very confident.
I was.
We did a confidence score.
Yep.
And of all the hypotheticals we put out there for the 49ers, Warriors, and Giants, the most confident you were in was Corbin Burnes signing with the Giants. So how confident would you be in Roki Sasaki signing with the Giants at this point? Very low?
It'd be a 2. It'd be a 2 for me. If we're going the I might have the Warriors avoiding the play-in higher than Roki Sasaki coming to the Giants.
Okay, so then how do they pivot then? Is it older Matt Scherzer or Justin Verlander now for the Giants?
I think the pivot. So here's the thing: is that we were talking about Plan A, Plan Bs. Corbin Burnes coming into this team. It obviously you get the 1A, 1B. Mm-hmm. They have a guy in Robbie Ray that can potentially be that type of person, be that type of pitcher. I don't know if he can get to that level, but he has the potential to be that number 2. I think he's more slotted for a number 3, but that's my opinion. Kyle Harrison is another guy that you look to in the Giants rotation that he had high expectations. The organization prior to Buster, but they had high expectations for Kyle Harrison that he can be a top of the rotation guy. Now, what we've seen since is he's a middle to the back end rotation guy, and he needs to take huge strides forward. And Buster and Manassian has said that they see him and Hayden Birdsong taking strides forward in their development in 2025. So the plan A was Willy Adames. Plan B was Corbin Burnes. Plan C is the youth development of the pitchers. I don't think that there's going to be a huge splash with the pitchers coming in this offseason. I mean, would you rather have, because that's also the thing too, when I'm looking at the Corbin Burnes deal, Derek, is they didn't want to go above a certain amount. Why is that? Because realistically, look at who is in their division. You have the Dodgers, you have the Padres, you have the Diamondbacks. Diamondbacks before getting Corbin Burnes were ahead of the Giants. Let's just be honest. Giants right now, prior to Corbin Burnes signing, was in the 4 spot in their division. Now with that happening, I mean, I wouldn't slot them above or even like be remotely close to the Padres.
All right.
So that's kind of where I'm seeing they didn't spend that money on Corbin Burnes because the Giants are in a different timeline of their competitiveness right now. 2025 might shift into being another development year to where they're starting to get pieces and they're starting to, because we don't even know from their lineup aspect, Derek. We don't know what Elliot Ramos is going to be. We don't know what Tyler Fitzgerald. We don't know Jung-Hoo Lee. Like, we still have to figure out what these guys are and what are cornerstones to move forward into the future for the Giants. So I feel like that's something that it's kind of a moment in time for the Giants that they had to decide, are we going to go for it or are we going to try to set up our pieces to make a big move in the future? And I feel like that's what they ended up doing. So I can see a lot of development with their pitchers in their farm system. I think the only move that there is to do is to get maybe Sonny Gray and trade away Lamont Wade Jr. Just because that I feel like Lamont Wade does add something to another place, but not here and not for what we need. And maybe it's not even Sonny Gray because I don't believe the Cardinals are in a position to where, I mean, they're just trying to get assets. So you might have to add something else to Lamont Wade in that
Camilo Doval.
Deal. I mean, I don't think that it would take Camilo Doval because assuming that you do get Sonny Gray, you're going to be taking on a lot of that contract because he just signed a 3-year for $75 million deal last season. So you're going to be taking on a lot of that money. So I would think maybe it's a Casey Schmidt and a Lamont Wade Jr. or a Mason Black and a Lamont Wade Jr. So then they get a pitcher prospect in that. And Mason Black, I mean, he's major league ready, so you can have him in there and go into the rotation. But yeah, man, like I don't see that really going down. I don't see Justin Verlander coming in here because why would you have, I mean, even Sonny Gray, but why would you have an older pitcher in here to where you can go and develop these guys and see what they have at the major league level?
Only if you thought you were going to be competitive this year and, have a chance to win a ring. But at this point, the Giants' goals, maybe to the public, is to get to the playoffs. Yeah. But in reality, everything you're saying, Walter, I'm right there with you. I think this is going to be an evaluation season. And that's kind of, it's evaluation season for most of the players, really for Buster Posey to overlook the whole franchise and really to see if Bob Melvin is his guy. Yeah. So, losing on Corbin Burnes, that changes the trajectory of this team this season where, okay, you thought that they were going to maybe compete for not the division. I think that's a little too lofty, but I would say probably
just make go for a wild card spot.
Yeah, just for a wild
Number
card
7.
spot.
Yeah.
And maybe that's still on the table. But I mean, now it may just be, you're right, that we evaluate the rotation and see who's willing to, who's willing to put the effort in, who's willing to put the time in, and who's willing to live up to the expectations that Buster Posey puts on this franchise. So, yeah, I'm with you on that one, Walter. I don't even know who's still available pitcher-wise besides those guys, Scherzer, Verlander. Flaherty, I think, is still a free agent.
Jack Flaherty is out there, but that's about it. That would really be. I mean, you want Anthony DeSclafani? Like, you want him back? Like,
I mean, that's a better question for you. You want old?
No, I don't. I don't.
T-Bone, or what do he call himself? What was his nickname for a while? It was Disco. It was Disco, but he hated that, so then he wanted a different nickname.
I don't know. I'll call up Greg. He knows all the nicknames.
I know all the nicknames, Walter.
I know. I gave it to them. I called him Late Night Lamont. I was the first.
I was the one that coined that phrase. And even though I'm calling the game on Monday, I can't be bothered to do the show with Greg Silver.
Dude.
That made me laugh.
Oh, man. Yeah, that's crazy, man. No, it's it's going to be really interesting to see what they do. If there was a true pivot, like if we're talking about free agents, I will say this. If there was a true pivot, I don't see it happening, but if there was a true pivot, they can go and improve their offense because of all those questions that I just laid out for you. You don't know what Elliot Ramos is. I mean, he looked promising. Jung-Hoo Lee, he looked promising, but we don't know what he's going to be major league season, like the entirety of a year. Tyler Fitzgerald, I think that his insurance might be Casey Schmidt. You don't really like that. Maybe you go get Ha-Sam Kim to bring him in for a little bit of assurance that he doesn't have to be fully ready at the beginning of the year, but he can slot in there maybe in June, something like that. So you can slot.
So would you have
in.
him DH at this point, or play like, I don't know, something else?
Who, Ha-Sam Kim?
Yeah.
Yeah, he'd probably slot in as the DH spot. But he's mainly there for a glove. You're not really getting anything offensively with Ha-Sam Kim. So,
that was my question, because I thought the Willy Adames signing would kill any thought of that, because
not necessarily. Not necessarily. Because Ha-Sam Kim, you want to have him at shortstop, but he can play second base. He's played second base before.
Okay.
And he shifted over to second base when Xander Bogaerts came over with the Padres. So he can be that, and maybe you slot him over at first base. I don't know if he has a first base mitt, but if you do trade away Lamont Wade Jr., there's a vacancy there. I don't know if that's Gerard Encarnacion. Like, there's a lot of minor pieces, but that's the thing. Like, that might be the pivot, is that you go and try to upgrade positions and slots in your lineup instead of bringing in more pitchers, because it's been so pitcher focused that now they can potentially shift to upgrading their offense. I don't know if there's a trade that would drastically change their outlook on the offense this season, but yeah, you can look to, Pete Alonso. I don't think that's happening, but Pete Alonso is out there.
Yeah.
You have Anthony Santander, which again, he's an outfielder. I would like to have him out there more than Mike Yastrzemski, but Yastrzemski brings you the glove. So what's the priority there? Like that, those are all the questions that Buster Posey and this Giants ownership group have to answer going into 2025. There's a lot of things to be addressed. It's just, how do they do it, and where does the help come from? That's the biggest question.
Yeah, and we'll see where they want to pivot. All those options are great. But yeah, fans are going to be disappointed that Corbin Burnes ended up spurring the Giants in this situation.
Yeah,
they were mad enough about Blake Snell leaving and going to join the Dodgers. This one, the narrative turned to, well, we didn't like Blake Snell anyway. He never was, down with being a Giant, and his start to the season sucked. He couldn't finish games all the way through. Corbin Burnes is that guy who's going to be a complete game pitcher, and now that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So I would ask Giants fans, you're not going to be mad at Buster Posey just yet, but how long will it take before you start to question him a little bit?
Yeah, the honeymoon phase is starting to phase out a little bit, right? It's starting to end a little bit abruptly. This offseason started out with a bang, dude. Like with Willy Adames, the way that it went down, signed before Juan Soto, you probably figured that you got him cheaper. But then this does feel like a huge misstep. But let's see what they got. Let's see what the young kids do, and also with oh God, I'm drawing a blank on Bobby Evans. With Bobby Evans being there,
Bobby,
and being the helping hand for Buster, I wouldn't be surprised if they got creative and got some trades and got some guys in here. So
okay,
I'm not completely on the train of, oh man, Buster screwed this up, like he doesn't know what he's doing. I'm not on that train yet, because I think there is a lot of promise and still early in the offseason. It's getting late in the offseason, but there's still potential for moves to happen. So yeah, we'll just have to see where this ends up going. But I just don't see there being a lot of options in the free agency market unless you're going to spend big. Do you want to go get like Alex Bregman and flip him over to first base? I've heard that he's willing to make that change for the right team. I don't know if this is the team for him to do that. Like maybe he was talking about the Yankees. I don't know. But there's options out there. There's options out there, and we'll just have to see what ends up happening. You're off the rest of this week, right? You're off until the 2nd. All right.
I'm not off, Walter. I'm still working. Just we don't have a show on Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday, but I'll be around. Sure.
Fantastic. All right, man. Well, I do want to get your thoughts really quick because we talked a lot about the Giants, and thank you for doing a baseball conversation. I got to tell everybody in the chat, this is probably the longest that I've talked baseball with Derek in a lifetime, in one sitting. 50 minutes, Derek?
Well, I wasn't on the whole time that you were on, but prior to me. So
okay, so 45 minutes.
Yeah,
Excuse
45 minutes of ball talk.
Well, let's get your thoughts. I do want to get your input on.
If you want my thoughts on fantasy football right now, I'm not happy because Danny Dunn's kicking my ass with Justin Herbert going off right now.
Are you guys in the final?
Yeah, we are.
Oh, damn. I haven't looked ever since you kicked my ass, and I was upset that Jalen Waddle exited in the first quarter and just derailed my fantasy season. You know, I would have beat you, right?
You really, you weren't. You didn't have a good team to begin with.
No, I was going to beat you.
I don't think so. I
was going to beat you.
I don't think so, Walt. I don't think so.
How you dealing with the Saturday games? Thank you for look, and that's the thing too. Derek's talking to me baseball while I know I saw you looking over your shoulder. I know you have the football game on.
It's not much of a game right now. The Chargers are kicking the Patriots' ass, so I thought I'd jump on during a bad game.
What's the next game coming up? The next game's better.
The next game is the Bengals and Broncos.
That should be good. That's what we were talking about. That's the playoff implication game.
It could be, but I think now with the Chiefs locking up the 1 seed, they're going to rest their starters next week. The Broncos are going to be your 7th wild card team.
Did the Chiefs lock up the 1 seed?
They did.
They did lock up
the 1
seed?
Indeed. They did.
Damn. I didn't
with those riveting Christmas Day games.
I'm so tired of the Chiefs, bro.
Me too, man. And our other hopes are probably the Buffalo Bills and the Baltimore Ravens. But I think I don't know about that this year.
Or the Lions.
Yeah, a lot of defensive injuries for the Lions.
Or the Eagles. Hey, by the way, Jalen Hurts isn't playing this week, so you lied to me.
I thought he was. I mean, like,
concussions are crazy, bro.
They are, and I saw him pick up his helmet in that game, and I thought, okay, he's coming back into this game, and then it must be bad. Well, we'll see if he comes back before the playoffs start.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, they're still going for the number 1 seed, right? There's
a possibility, but really, here's the thing:
1 game, right?
If the Packers end up beating the Vikings and the Lions beat the 49ers, I think the Lions lock up that 1 seed no matter what.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's
or maybe not the 1 seed, but yeah, you know what? At that point,
maybe they lock up the division, but not the 1 seed.
Yeah, we'll have to see about all the playoff implications. It's a lot of Steve Karnacki weird stuff going on, but all you need to know
we'll have
is
to ask Greg Silver to bust out the model. We'll have to bust out the model again to see the playoff scenarios for all the teams, not just for the 49ers.
Yeah, no, we'll get a better idea after Sunday about everything, but it's looking like the Lions will be your 1 seed in the NFC, and then you'll probably have the Eagles, Rams based on what happens tonight. We'll see, and then we'll see who wins the South, and then you'll have the NFC North teams. But you know what? The Vikings could end up beating the Lions the last week of the season and then taking that division. So we'll see.
Can the Rams win the division tonight if they win?
No, it's a weird deal because the Seahawks won on Thursday.
Yeah,
it's this weird scenario where the Rams would have to win and have 3.5 outcomes go their way on Sunday. I don't know why it's 3.5. It's not even like NFC.
How do you have
team.
half an outcome?
I don't know. Maybe like a tie.
Okay.
This is where, like, when people spew out playoff implications or playoff scenarios, I just roll my eyes and I'm like, just tell me what happened after the damn game went final.
What would you rather hear? The playoff implications, like playoff scenarios, or baseball offseason dollar projected or reported amounts in dollars offered? What tickles your fancy?
Dude, I'm all about free agency talk. Like I love money talk when it comes to what people get, to their deferred money, to the opt-outs.
I don't want to hear about deferred. I know.
I'm sorry. Did Corbin Burnes, did he get any deferred money in this contract?
No, I don't think so. The only team that happens to operate with deferments is the fucking Dodgers. So
yeah, that's true.
I don't understand how they can continue to do it. You have to limit deferments.
Who signed yesterday that got some deferred money?
Teoscar Hernandez.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, he signed. I think it was a 3-year, $66 million.
And Tacky's asking the question that everybody wants to know: why is Derek on a baseball podcast? Because Walter asked me, Tacky. Screw you.
Tacky showing up like an hour late. Where the hell's Tacky been?
He usually does that with these chats.
Yeah, he's go back. It was a great conversation, Tacky. Go back and listen to it, and give me a like. You know, you gotta give me a like. Go subscribe. I know Tacky's already subscribed. He's
smash
just
that like button. Smash it.
Yeah, smash it. Really quick before I let you go. Yeah, before I let you go, Derek.
Well, hold on. Let me go off on Dave Cavill for a second here.
Well, yes, I was going to get into that, and then we're going to end with Ricky, and on a high note. But Dave Cavill
was a con man.
Go ahead.
Always was a con man. Was a snake charmer. I know that everybody liked what he did with the San Jose Earthquakes, getting that stadium built and everything, and then they thought the same thing. Beautiful stadium, longest bar, I believe, outside bar in the world.
Yeah.
But then Dave Cavill came over to the A's, and we thought that, okay, maybe he's going to help get a stadium built over here. And he did the food trucks things for a little while, and that was fun. But for the most part, he was just kind of a sniveling, just yes man, and just like everything, like just did everything that John Fisher wanted. In the end, I never thought their intentions were to stay in Oakland, despite the slogan of "Rooted in Oakland." It was just a bunch of bullshit. In the end, they pivoted real quick to go into Vegas. They threw out these ideas for the Coliseum or different stadium plans, like the gondola thing, whatever the hell that was over Howard Terminal. Like that was never going to work out. So they did these stupid things. I remember Larry Beal hosting or moderating this conversation they did with the people of Oakland, and Dave Cavill was never serious about any of those things to make a deal done with the city of Oakland. So him, like, I'll never, like, the day that he lost A's fans was the day that he went to a Las Vegas Knights game where he filmed the atmosphere and said, who doesn't love this atmosphere? Who could beat this atmosphere? And that's when we all knew what his intentions were, that they wanted to go to Las Vegas. So by all means, A's are going to Las Vegas. It sounds like a complete shit show. I mean, Dave Cavill, when he was like in court, couldn't even answer simple questions about how they're going to pay, the people of Las Vegas. So that turned on him quickly. And in the end, he got the job done. They approved the stadium and everything, but the shovel's not in the dirt. And they're out of Oakland. They're going to Sacramento for a couple of years, and I think that will be their permanent home.
Yeah, they might end up staying there. Yeah,
exactly. I think that Dave Cavill got the job done in the end, and then John Fisher was like, "Okay, get out of here." So, by all means, go try to snake charm another franchise in the Bay Area that needs help. By all means, try your magic. But I think people know what Dave Cavill really is now. He's just a sniveling snake charmer. I don't want to curse too much on this thing because I'm trying to be better overall when I'm on the radio now, but that guy could go to hell. Just fuck Dave Cavill.
Oh, there it is, Derek. I was waiting for it. It was on the tip of your tongue ever since you started talking about Cavill.
Yeah, but
I love it, man. Yeah. I got a couple of comments that came in here. I don't know which one I like better. Tacky says, "My wife says Derek looks high." I like that one. Or
she'd be wrong, Tacky, but I always look high.
Or AJ Cruz, keeping it classy. Cavill is a wiener.
A big old weenie. I
agree on that. Derek, really quick before I let you go, man. And of course, I love just chatting with you. And it was a fun time. But I do want to get your thoughts on Ricky Henderson, because you have that shirt I saw for the first time, and I thought that it was the best thing, because I don't go out to the Coliseum as often, and I know the guys on the BART Bridge, they always have the coolest swag out there for the
knockoff stuff. Yep.
Yeah, dude. So and not to say that your shirt was a knockoff, but I'm just assuming that's where it came from.
No, it was. It 100% was. My friend Elena bought it for me. It says, "I learned everything from stealing," or I learned everything from stealing. I learned everything from stealing by living in Oakland, and it shows Ricky Henderson with the base
bag
in his hands and the 24 in the back. Dude, Ricky,
it's a good shirt, man.
No, I love it. And then I was able to get a Ricky Henderson jersey from my old roommate. No, dude, Ricky is the epitome of cool, man. Like there's certain guys, icons in sports that we didn't see play, but they were just like, they epitomize cool. Like Joe Namath. I think was that guy in the 70s wearing a fur coat on the sidelines and sunglasses and, mixing around on the town. Ricky Henderson referring to himself in the third person. Yes, everything I know about stealing, I learned in Oakland. Thank you, Pat H.
Yeah.
Like Ricky Henderson, like how many guys could pull that off? How many guys could walk around saying their own name and referring to themselves? I'm Ricky. If he was a terrible player, people would have been like, Rick, that's enough. You're crazy. But the fact that he was so good at baseball, Ricky Henderson, he's a little crazy. He's a little nuts. He refers to himself in the third person. He can get away with it because he's the best leadoff hitter of all time.
Right.
He's the best base stealer of all time. He's the best Oakland A of all time. He's the best Oakland athlete of all time. And it sucks in the same year that the Oakland A's die, their best player dies. And I've said this. Brody Brazil was the first person to bring this up. We need to honor Ricky Henderson in an appropriate way because I don't think I'm out of bounds saying this. I think that Ricky Henderson is as important to the Oakland A's as Willie Mays is to the San Francisco Giants. And it's sad that, the two, Barry Bonds is in this category as well, but the two greatest baseball players, Bay Area baseball players, passed away this past year, and Willie Mays and Ricky Henderson, the best players for each franchise. And I loved the celebration of life the Giants put on for Willie Mays. It was free to the public. You had to get there early, but if you got there and you had a seat, you were able to sit and enjoy stories. Chris Berman was there. Bill Clinton was there. Did he pick up the sax and play a little something for Willie Mays?
I don't think he picked up the sax.
No,
I don't think he did that.
Man, my man Bill can rock a mean sax.
Oh yeah, sure.
I said sax, by the way. I said sax.
Sax.
Barack Obama filmed something ahead of time. And I feel like there's enough people out there that were impacted by Ricky Henderson on and off the field and what he meant to the city of Oakland that I think it would be appropriate one last time to open up the Coliseum doors and do a celebration of life for Ricky Henderson. And I guess this was false. Tomorrow, it was reported that there was going to be not a funeral, but like a celebration of Ricky Henderson at the Paramount Theater. And I guess it was just Susan Slusser tweeted this out, but I saw the press release. Ricky's family is saying that is not true. That is not the case. That is not happening tomorrow. So whatever they decide to do for the fans and for the public, I hope it gets done at the Coliseum. Because, it was great to see that place celebrate one last time and play celebration and get a win. But when you're the best player in Oakland A's history passes away, I think you should open the doors up one last time and get the likes of Reggie Jackson and all the guys. When I think of Ricky Henderson, I think of three guys. I think of Shooty Babbitt. I think of Bip Roberts. I think of his dear, dear friend, Dave Stewart. Yep. And all of them either played with Ricky, grew up in Oakland, and idolized Ricky, or, we're just friends of Ricky Henderson. So, I think we should do that one last time to celebrate him.
Yeah, for sure. Well said, man. Ricky Henderson meant so much to so many people, and just the current state of that team. And Brody was talking about it, and we spoke about it a little bit too on Christmas Eve when I was in with you. Is A's fans didn't really know what to do. They didn't know where to go. They didn't know what to call home. They didn't know where to set up a memorial. And that sucks. That sucks because for as great of a person that he was, and a player that he was on the field, he was an even better person. And you need to pay your respects to Ricky. And I had my interaction with him when I was working security, and I faked that I didn't know who he was, and I denied him access. I was very ballsy for this interaction, Derek, and he laughed it off, and he said that you made Ricky laugh. That's what he said after I denied him, and I was just like, oh dude, I know who you are, you can go in. And he was just like, that's funny, you made Ricky laugh. And then he patted me on the shoulder, and then he left, bro. So it's he just had such a genuine, a good heart, and just all the stories that you continue to hear from all his past peers and people in the know and people that knew him well. So I'm with you, man. They have to open up the Coliseum one more time, and I guarantee you there will not be a open seat in that place if they open it up one more time.
No, it will not be. It'll be the last party in the Coliseum if they open the doors up for Rickey Henderson celebration. So I hope that whoever runs that place now, I don't think John Fisher still has control of that place. I think Dave Stewart's affiliated with whoever does own that land right now. So hopefully it does get done. Well, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. But Derek, I'm gonna end that here, man. Great conversation with you, and we'll do it. We'll do it again some other time for sure.
Always down. Walter, you're doing a fantastic job on this show. I know Passion for the Pastime was your podcast back in the day, and now you're bringing it back on the YouTube format, and you're doing a great job on this, man.
Dude, I appreciate it, and yeah, you're welcome anytime, especially when you're blowing me on the camera here. Thank you.
All right.
Sorry, I had to make you uncomfortable, Derek.
Yeah, you did. But you know what? It was accurate.
Okay, thank you. All right, well, everybody, I'm going to end it here.
By the way,
Derek
catch
Papa.
me back.
Go ahead.
Sorry, just to catch me on Thursday back on Dirty Work when Adam Copeland acts like he never wanted Corbin Burnes in the first place.
Yeah, I can't wait for that. Thursday, January 2nd. 2 to 6 Dirty Work.
Yep.
Sorry, I forgot the time of your show.
Whenever it's on.
I just haven't been in that station for quite some time, so I'm just I'm disconnected.
It's all good.
All right, man. Well, I appreciate you stopping by for sure. We'll have to do it again. And everybody, I will have to remind you to subscribe, listen to Derek, and Derek, your other podcast, Just Your Opinion Man, which everybody in the chat already knows about. This is the Just Your Opinion Man Army. When's your next show on that?
We are doing a show, I believe, noon on New Year's Eve. Me and Steven will be going live to react to the week that was in football. And we'll react a little bit to Corbin Burnes spurring the Giants and signing with the Diamondbacks.
All right. Well, I look forward to that. And everybody, we will be back because today is Saturday. This was a emergency edition of Passion for the Pastime. We'll be back on Monday at 2 o'clock, and we'll be talking with Eric Engel of Locked On Podcast.
Triple
Yeah,
E.
I'm gonna have Triple E on the show, Derek. So make sure to tune into that one. Yeah, I'm gonna talk to Eric, and he was telling me yesterday that right before Corbin Burnes signed, he said if the Giants don't get Corbin Burnes, he would jump off a bridge. So I just have to check in with him and make sure that he's okay.
And he actually might do that.
He might actually do that. He is in Reno right now snowboarding, so maybe he'll
I'm
do
shocked by that.
You're shocked by that, but we'll see. We'll check in.
Did he tear his ACL again?
Not yet. So we'll find out on Monday if he is all in one piece and if he jumped off a bridge. We'll find that out. Because if he did jump out, he won't be there on Monday. So we'll find out.
That is true.
We will find out at 2 o'clock. But you guys, thank you all for stopping by. Passion for the Pastime, this emergency edition on a Saturday. Rockin' New Era. Enjoy Disneyland. Go get me some churros and bring them back, and we'll
give me some of them churros.
Yeah, give me some churros, man. I love the churros at Disneyland, and go ride the teacups 50,000 times and just puke. Send us pictures. But everybody, thank you for stopping by Passion for the Pastime. Again, subscribe, like, set your notifications, because just on an instance like this, if you don't have the notifications, you're going to miss out on all of the fun. So we will talk to you again on Monday, 2 o'clock p.m., Passion for the Pastime. Thank you all for stopping by. Derek, thank you for stopping by, man. I'll talk to you soon. And everybody else, have a good one. Be safe. Enjoy the final weekend of 2024. Be safe and responsible, or have a designated driver. You guys have a good one. Be safe, and I'll talk to you then.